Hey, it's K Bouquet, and I'm here with another video. If you're new or if you're coming back, hi. Today I'm going to talk about getting piercings. I have gotten quite a few piercings, getting them at a relatively young age, so I can talk a little bit about them, but I want to put out a disclaimer, a reminder, I am not a piercer. I have never studied it and I don't know all of the best things, but these are just some things that I need to remember the more I get earrings, and some things I didn't really notice until after I had all of my earrings. This is 10 things to remember before getting piercings. Number 1, which is going to be one of the most important things to know and remember, is the cost and quality of the jewelry is really important to the life of the jewelry. So it doesn't always have to be super expensive, but most of the time if you are getting cheaper earrings, they're probably not the best quality. And then some of the quality you should be looking for is here we go. So I went to Faith and Needles Instagram, which I really recommend her. She is a really awesome piercer in Texas, and she has great education. So right from one of her posts, metals like surgical steel, sterling silver, plated or filled gold, and cheap mystery metal are not conducive to healing a piercing or made for a long time implantation. Stuff is going like literally through your body, and it's just sitting in there. So implant grade are some things like titanium, 14 to 18 karat gold, platinum, stainless steel, and niobium. And usually these can only be found at like a reputable piercing studio. So to be very transparent, I have pretty shitty jewelry in my ears and in my face, because I don't have the money to get all of the pieces that I want. So I am slowly curating the pieces that I want, and I will be buying them. The other hard thing to consider is, although the quality of the jewelry is good for the life of the jewelry, the life of the jewelry is only so long if you lose it, right? So it is important to remember that losing it happens often. I have to replace my earrings often, which is why I really just stuck to shitty stuff, because I was afraid of getting expensive stuff and losing it. Now that I've noticed a lot of my being better at checking my piercings, making sure they're tight, I've noticed that I think I can say that I can buy more expensive jewelry and make sure that it's really kept in my ear. And that will just be better over my lifetime, because I will have my piercings as long as I can think, because I really love them. But yeah, good thing to remember, if your piercer doesn't have some of those quality implant grade metals and materials, then I probably wouldn't recommend going to them. And I'll have Faith and Needles somewhere so you can check her out. Let's go on to number 2. So you have to know the size, so the gauge, and the length of certain piercings. Sometimes it doesn't really matter that much. You usually get pierced with a 16 gauge. Yeah, so you're usually pierced with a 16 gauge. And the way that gauges work, if you don't know, it's backwards. So the larger the number of the gauge is, the smaller the hole. So a 16 gauge is actually kind of small. And usually my piercings, especially some of the cheaper ones, can be an 18 gauge, which is even smaller. Or it can be a 14 gauge, which is a little bit bigger. That usually doesn't matter too much for me personally, for really anything, honestly. The gauge doesn't matter as much if you're going up one or down one. If you go up one and it's a little bigger, you are going to feel that a little bit, but it's probably not going to be that bad, which is how you're meant to, like do gauges. You stretch, like this didn't happen in one day. I didn't just do that. I stretched it out. So that's kind of important, especially when it's new. You don't want to get a gauge that's completely off. But mostly the annoying thing for me here is if you have a bar, an industrial bar, you need to know the length between your holes for specific types of jewelry. So if you have a normal industrial bar that has nothing in the middle, you're good to go. It can be as long as you want. I say that with quotes. It shouldn't be too long that it's getting stuck on things or warping your ear. But it also shouldn't be too short that it's, again, squishing or warping your ear. But the jewelry that I really like is having something in the middle, which I will show a picture of my ear here. And the heart in the middle of this one is welded on, so it doesn't move. So in order to get this in my ear, I have to squish until one end goes in, and then push to the other side until the other end goes in. But recently, I had my mom buy me a new one for Christmas. So I was really excited to get it until I realized it was not going to fit. No matter how far I tried to push my ears apart, the individual side was just way too long, and there was no way I was getting that in my ear. So I had to return it, and I still have to measure and figure out how long I need it to be. But also when you get your ears pierced, you're going to want a longer post in order to give your ear space to swell up and come back down. But then once they're healed, you're going to want a shorter post so that you're not just whacking it around and you could be hurting your ear, which if you follow Faith and Needles, it's something else that you'll find out that I didn't really know until recently, which I never really had stuff that was too long or too short, so it didn't matter to me, but I know other people who have. Number 3. Of course, piercings are uncomfortable. They can cause discomfort when you get them, but even after the healing process, they can cause slight discomfort. The things that I think of as like slight discomfort are if I'm wearing in-ear headphones, which I'm not supposed to wear, I think, because of this guy, because it could push that around and mess with it. And I also find that it puts a lot of pressure on it, and then it can also put pressure on my conch, my conch one back over here, depending on how big the earbuds are. So that's kind of annoying. But then also, if I wear over-the-ear headphones, they always squish my top cartilage and industrial piercing literally into my brain. So I don't like that either. So it can be kind of hard to wear headphones. Another discomfort is sometimes sleeping on pillows just because there's so many earrings in my ears. Again, it pushes on my head sometimes. So most of the time I sleep on my face or on the back of my head and not really directly on my ears. And then partners, if you are laying with your partner and your earring gets stuck, I cannot tell you the amount of times that it's happened. It's annoying for me. It's annoying to, like, it hurts, one. It's annoying to have to be like, fuck, my earring got stuck on you. Now, like, let's do whatever. It's not that, embarrassing, but it's just annoying. And then sometimes when you're laying on them, they can also feel your earring. So my boyfriends have always had to tell me, like, hey, can we, like, put a blanket or a pillow or something? Because when I lay directly on their arm, all they feel is, like, my little stabby earrings. So something to keep in mind. I don't think any of this should be a reason that you shouldn't get piercings. So remember that, like, nothing on my list is a reason you shouldn't get piercings. It's just things to think of, remember, prepare for, possibly. You know what I mean? Now on to number 4. So unfortunately, this one's kind of like a more gruesome one, so I'll put like a little trigger warning. Just if you don't like the thought of gruesome stuff, I would skip a little bit. But piercings can be ripped out, and it does happen, and it really fucking sucks. So I remember when I got my nose piercing, I was very afraid of getting it ripped out at Warped Tour because I was in a big crowd, and again, like, sometimes your jewelry just gets caught on other people, and I was afraid that it was going to get caught on someone's shirt or their hair or their backpack. If I went into a pit or something, they were going to pull it out. I did have someone punch me in the face once, but it was more in my jaw. But I was afraid that someone punched me in my face, like, what would happen? I get a little more nervous, and sometimes I'll take out certain piercings if I feel like it's going to be dangerous. But I usually just don't. I don't go into, like, that type of situation. But another type of situation is if you are into sports. I'm sure your coaches and your teachers have told you this before, that earrings can and have been ripped out. And this actually happened to my mom not too many years ago. She plays volleyball, just like, as, I don't know, with like other older adults. She was diving for a ball, and she got her earring. It wasn't her cartilage, it was still just the lobe, but it was really high, and it got caught on the net and it ripped out, and she had to go to urgent care, and it was gross. It was so gross. So definitely be careful. Also, brushing hair or pulling off clothes can be very detrimental depending how hard you're doing it. So please be cautious. Just be careful. Again, not a reason to not get them. Just a reason to think about, if I'm doing sports today, let me take them out. Maybe if I'm going to something specific, let me take them out. Or you can put band-aids over them just so they don't like get caught on anything. And just be gentle with like clothes and hair. So number 5, infections can and do still happen even after piercings are fully healed for years. Infections do still happen. For me, I kind of refer to them as like a cold for my piercings. They'll get a little red and they'll hurt a little bit. It'll like hurt to like touch them, and it'll only stay for like a day or two. If it goes any longer, then I'll start cleaning it, but otherwise I just do my normal like washing in the shower with soap and stuff. So just be aware. Some of your piercings are just going to be, a little achy. Number 6, jewelry can always be taken out, and this is the reason that my mom started letting me get my piercings so young. I got my first hole when I was a baby because she did that. But I got my second hole when I was 9, and then every year I kind of got one from there. Like every year for my birthday or for just something during the year, I got a piercing, and it was really cool. And my mom's idea was you can always take them out. If your school has trouble with it, take them out, which they did often because I went to Catholic school. Just take them out. If you down the line you get a job, you can always just take them out, which is really awesome and a good thing to think about. And then for 7, on the flip side of that, although you can always take them out, the hole doesn't always close up the best. Piercings definitely do close up to a point where you can't put something else through them. You can't put an earring through them, but they might still show a bit of a hole or a mark or a dent, just a little bit of showing that you had something literally punctured through your ear, which makes sense. And depending on the spot, they can be seen or they can be more inconspicuous. So I know I have a piercing on my ear. It's up here. It's a little hole that I accidentally let close. And although you probably can't see it, and I'll try and get a picture of it, I can feel it. I can feel where the hole was on both sides, and I know it was there. But you're probably never going to be able to see it. So it really isn't going to matter that much. But for other piercings that I have noticed on other people, lip piercings, I can see the holes for those. Nose piercings, eyebrow piercings, I guess it's just because it's in their face that it's a little more obvious because I'm looking at their face. I think that can be covered up with makeup, or if you want to make it like a little like freckle or something. But if someone is looking kind of hard, they might be able to see it. So that is what has kept me from getting a lip piercing so far, is I'm not sure what I want, and I don't want to get it because until I'm sure. Because I really like my lips and I don't want to put a little mark around them unless I am really, really sure about it, which I think is fine. I think that's valid. Number 8, jewelry can really help with self-confidence and just self-image and self-esteem. Like I said, I've had piercings for a lot of my life, and sometimes I'm like, I don't really need them in my ears, and I'll take them out. And I just feel different. Of course, like I am a little different. But I just don't always feel as confident, as ready to like see other people. One thing I really like about my earrings is that it brings people to me and it gets people to talk to me. I don't always really like to start conversations, but once you start talking to me, I'm excited to just blabber. So when people come up to me and they're like, oh, cool earrings, or like, cool this, did it hurt, whatever, I don't mind. I think it's nice. I like to talk to them. So going out without my earrings just felt like I wasn't going out. Like my whole me wasn't going out. And like, not even that, I just wasn't getting attention. It just didn't feel right. I just didn't feel like myself. And then knowing that, like, I don't know, there was nothing for people to really like talk to me about. Just like, yeah, like I love my earrings. I love the way they look. They make me feel comfortable and confident and social, and they help me feel good. And I think they can help others feel good too. So I don't think it's ever really like a bad thing to get pierced. It's, it's just confidence. It just helps you feel better about how you look, and that's okay. I'm gonna put a little trigger here for self-harm for number 9, because I think that getting piercings can be both therapeutic and a little bit harmful depending on how you do it. So like I said, I got a piercing every year, and the reason it wasn't always on my birthday or anything specific was because I would choose when to do it depending on how I was feeling. And this was before I personally started more conventional self-harm. So I didn't really realize I was doing it at the time, but I would plan out a piercing that I really wanted, and I would wait until I didn't feel good, until something bad happened, until I was just in a funk, as far as I understood as like a 9, 10, 11-year-old. I would wait, and then once I didn't feel good, that's when I would book my piercing. And yes, it was something to look forward to, but also the pain, like that's what I was looking forward to, like the actual physical hurt of it. So I think, not that it was fully bad, but it's something that you should think about if you're getting tons of tattoos, tons of piercings, and you're also having a hard time. Think about if maybe you need something else to help you and not that. Again, I love piercings. I love tattoos. I think you can have as many as you want and do whatever you want. I just also love you, and I don't want you to be getting them just because you feel bad about yourself, or you just feel bad. I want you to get them because you're excited, you're happy, you're looking forward to it, not just because you're looking forward to the pain. And I've done that before, so I'm not shaming. I just, again, want to, be thoughtful about it. So things Again, things to remember before getting piercings. Just try and possibly do something else if you're seeing that maybe you're getting piercings or tattoos just because you don't feel good. Okay? I love you. We've made it to number 10. So this is going to be the most important one. Always. Let me fix. Always go to a piercing studio or a tattoo studio that has a trusted and vetted piercer. Do not go to Claire's. Don't go to the little pagoda at the mall, the little fucking place at the mall. Don't get your ears pierced with a gun. Okay, I've had a lot of my piercings with a gun at Claire's. They survived, but it hurt, it was bad, and it wasn't necessary. I could have just gone to an actual good human being that knew what the fuck they were doing. So I highly recommend that. Again, I will say Faith in Needles, go check her out. She's a piercer in Texas, but she also just gives great education about what you should look for in a piercer, in a piercing studio, in a tattoo studio, what you should look for in jewelry and quality. She's just amazing, and she's also just like a funny, wonderful woman, single mommy. She's great. We love her. We stan. So go check her out. I do want to say that it's just like the reason it's important to go to a piercing studio or a tattoo studio and not to Claire's is going to be the knowledge. Remember, like, people who work at Claire's are teenagers that need a job in the mall. Okay, they're not gonna have all of the information for how your ears work and how, like, the difference between cartilage and lobe and like what is in there and how the cartilage can shatter with a gun. They might not even know how to properly sanitize things because, again, they're not a trained professional. They are someone working in the mall for some money. Okay, I want to go to someone who is definitely going to be sanitized, completely know what they're doing, know that the angle that they have to go in, the anatomy that they're working with, which is really important. So that's why I say to go to these places. Those are my 10 things to remember before getting pierced. I hope you liked it. If you got to the end, give me just a little ear emoji. I know that all piercings aren't on the ear, but I think it's cute. Thanks for watching. Leave me any comments, questions, concerns, anything down below. You can subscribe if you like this type of content. I'll be doing more lifestyle, talking about piercings, tattoos, my plants, my animals, just like my hobbies. Just check me out. Me on my socials, they'll be down below, and I'll see you later. Love you, bye. Do the bodega, not the bodega, the bodega. The little like pagoda, piercing pagoda. That's what my place used to be called.